And Madam President-elect Maryam, it's a great honour to share this panel with you today, to listen to your remarks, and I think they are informative and constructive. It was always a great pleasure to welcome you, Maryam, to the European Parliament in Strasbourg, where we had the European Parliament Friends of a Free Iran. So thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to join the panel here today. I think it's important that we understand that when human rights and democracy are restored in Iran, it will not only impact Iran's future, but also the future direction of the entire Middle East. Just as the current regime is the source of terrorism, repression, and instability, a future democratic Iran could be the source of human rights, democracy, and stability in the region, and a defender and a promoter of the values proclaimed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The current failure to uphold international law and to hold the Iranian regime to account for its systematic human rights abuses has resulted in the alarming trend we see today at an international level and in the UN, where the Iranian regime teams up with other dictators to foment war and break down the rule-based international order. So the United Kingdom must take the lead at the United Nations to move the international community beyond strong condemnation of the Iranian regime and towards concrete action to enforce international law and the UN Convention on Human Rights. On Sunday, we observed Human Rights Day, which commemorates the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the General Assembly 75 years ago. And if the values and principles and rights proclaimed in this landmark document are worth celebrating each year, and they are, then it's only right to stand up and defend these values and not allow them to be trampled by the regime in Iran without any fear of repercussions. I have to say, I am very pleased to see that David Cameron, Lord Cameron, has been made our new Foreign Secretary. So I say to him and to our government, we must not be afraid to call out the Iranian regime, and especially to prescribe the IRGC. The government should officially support Maryam Rajavi's recommendations to end the impunity of Iran and publicly demand the arrest and prosecution of the regime's leaders at an international tribunal. As soon as the regime's mercenaries and terrorist proxies see our resolve, they will fold and retreat. We know that the regime in Iran is rejected by the people. The Iranian people want justice, human rights, and democracy. They're not going to fight to keep the present regime. They are already fighting to overthrow it. We're seeing this right across Iran today, how brave women, men, and youth are defying this brutal and merciless regime. And in their fight, they get inspiration and hope from your leadership, Maryam, and the resistance movement you lead. The people of Iran know that you and the NCRI will not compromise on the Iranian people's legitimate demand for a democratic republic and for the pursuit of justice against the regime's leader. So I agree with you, Madam President-elect, and I support your call on the UK government to refer the regime with its appalling human rights record to the United Nations Security Council for prosecution of the regime's leaders. I also agree that Raisi should not be invited to speak at the UN or tour European countries, he should be arrested and sent directly to The Hague to be prosecuted for his involvement in the 1988 massacre of 30,000 political prisoners and the killing of over 2,000 protesters during the uprising in November 2019 and 2022. So I call on our government to make the appropriate representation. May I also urge my former colleagues and now honourable friends in both Houses of Parliament to take up Maryam's recommendations presented here today with regards to securing accountability, to debate and adopt them in Parliament, and to make it the expressed view of both houses that our government should make these recommendations a priority in its future policy on Iran, and especially they should prescribe the IRGC. Thank you.
Thank you very much.